Hello all, and welcome to what is my first update video on my journey to 1 million Gamerscore. Now, my original intention on these videos was to do them on a end of monthly basis, but I've decided recently that because I'd like to discuss more in depth about what I've played and what achievements I've earned, obviously bringing up the easy completions and easy chunk of Gamerscore within games, I thought I'd do these fortnightly so that they keep the videos shorter, and obviously that my memory is a lot sharper on what I've done. So with that, let's crack on and go to the games that I've been playing, and I like to do these in chronological order, so bear with me while I just scroll down to what was the first game of the year and month on the very first day of the year, and that sadly is not a good game. It's Scale Electrics, otherwise known as Tracks Build It Race It in other regions outside of the UK. Tracks being spelled T-R-A-X rather than with a C-K at the end, the correct way. And unfortunately there are no real redeeming qualities about this game. It's not a good game at all. It's expensive at $9.99 for what is essentially a one-button game, and not worth it at all. If you're willing to spend $9.99 or whatever it is in your region for an easy 1000, in which is going to take around about an hour or a lot less once you've mastered the only mechanic of the game, which is literally pressing right trigger to power your car. The 12 achievements are all listed as secret, however all they are is winning a race on each track against the AI on level 2, but that's the default level, so you haven't got to adjust that at all. Just win a race and then move on to the next one. The bad things about this game unfortunately continue, because unless they patched it at time of recording, and they haven't, you're going to be crashing after every time you win, and you're actually going to have to back out of the game, exit it and completely restart it in order to move on to the next track. If you don't win a race, then it will let you progress and have another stab, but if you win a race, the achievement will pop, it'll freeze, and you'll have to quit out of the game and then go back into it, which I think is an absolute shambles that this is available in this broken state. Also, another tip to give you is that once you've mastered the fact that you pretty much have to slow down a little bit for every corner so that you don't fly off the track, I would say is to change the default camera, which is off, to a much sort of further panned out view, and that will make seeing the corners come a lot easier than that horrible default view. Another tip is you'll hear the computer AI come off the track even if you can't see them, so if you hear the noise and they come off the track, you can just slow down and you'll win easily. So just progress through all 12 tracks. You'll get it done in around about the hour mark or under an hour once you've got the hang of the right trigger and slowing down for corners. Easy completion, won't take you long at all. Okay, the next game I played in the month is FIFA 19. I had this sat on 30 Gs, and obviously I've added 390 to that total. Although I spent 6 to 8 hours, I would say, playing this game, none of what I did was difficult. It was just quite long. Winning certain matches in certain ways, winning finals which you can skip to, scoring 3 headers in headers and volley, winning survival match, winning a women's match, and scoring goals in certain ways as well as a couple of random achievements which popped along the way without even realising it, like playing 3 training modes, I think, that was suggested for me. Also, I loaded up my Pro and spent a skill point for a 15G achievement. It's say 6 to 8 hours. Like all sports titles, there's a certain chunk you pick up easily, and that's exactly what I did. The only one that took a bit of time was to win a penalty shootout without missing, because I sort of made the situation happen, and then although I won the penalty shootout a couple of times, I missed one, so it obviously voided the achievement, because it has to be a perfect run basically on the penalty shootout. I mean, you can win without scoring 5s like 4-2, but as long as you don't miss one, the achievement will unlock. So yep, added 390 in FIFA 19 in what wasn't too difficult. We'll be returning to it at some point. ACA Neo Geo The Last Blade. Now this one wasn't too difficult. I think it took me less than 2 hours. I think 1 to 2 hours is a good time to put on this game, I would say. And the technique I come up with eventually after trying a few characters was picking a character called Washizuki. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And then it gives you the option to pick speed or power. Now go for power, that'll defeat your opponent a lot easier and quicker, obviously. I find it more beneficial than the speed that it offered you. The character select screen is written in Japanese, so if you're looking for this character and want to copy the method that I did, he'll be in the bottom row and left of the two centre ones. He wears trying to remember here, wearing a blue sort of top and green bottoms and wielding a sword sort of, and you'll see that in the character select screen. So I picked him and I pretty much used the heavy attack with pressing forward and A, which is the heavy attack, forward and A, and connecting with that, and that does a lot of damage when it connects. And then obviously in the caravan and high score modes, what you want to be doing in that first opponent, which is the kind of easier one, is you want to be making sure that you get at least one perfect. 2 would be great. At least one perfect or one near perfect, I would say, in helping you get to the top marker. In obviously caravan mode only runs for 5 minutes. So I mean, it's not an easy completion. It is an easy completion, but expect to put in 1 to 2 hours, I would say, to get the job done. Maybe a little bit more if the AI is a bit unkind to you. Moving on from the Last Blade is Last Blade 2. Now they tweaked the score margins on this a little bit, but essentially the same method worked for me. It just probably took twice as long because I was unlucky with the AI, I would say, or the AI was a little bit sharper and better in this game, with the scores also being a little bit higher. So I used the same character. What I did this time is, what I should say this time is the character select screen looks a little different. If you want to use Washizaki again, he is on the left column, 4th one down, and sporting the same gear. Using the same method, forward heavy attack, forward A, get at least one perfect, and at least one near perfect or a second perfect obviously is great as well. And work your way through the 3 modes in that. As I say, it was a bit trickier. I think the scores are a tiny bit higher in this, so yeah, just be patient, and it's not a difficult completion. But I'm not going to put 1 to 2 hours on this one. I'm going to say it's going to be around about 3 to 4 probably, because you may need a few attempts. Try not to get too frustrated. Rare replay. Okay, revisited this. I had a lot of this already done. I managed to finish the 5 stamps on Battletoads and the 5 stamps on RC Pro Am 2. Got very lucky with the 5 stamps on Battletoads, because one of the stamps is to survive 45 seconds in the infinite loop tunnel, which is not easy, and I died and the timer ticked over to 45 seconds, 0.1. Got very lucky with that. So there is one thing worth mentioning with this, and I'll only do it the first time I talk about it in these update videos, is Rare Replay. It comes with a healthy, generous 4000 Gs, as you can see, but it also comes with 9 games that kind of sub-download into what is the Xbox 360 back compat way of loading up a game, and downloads them separately, and then also comes with the achievements that come with the 360 versions. So you get Banjo-Kazooie with a 200G available to you, Banjo-Tooie with 200G available to you, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts with 1250 available to you, Jetpack Refuel with 200, Cameo with 1000, although Cameo is really annoying because it has 26 achievements with value and 24 with 0G. Next game, Perfect Dark, has 200, and then you've got Perfect Dark Zero, which has 1000, Viva Pinata, which has 1000, and Viva Pinata Trouble in Paradise, which has 1000. So that's kind of an additional 6050 on top of the 4000 which you see on screen now. So you can potentially get 10,050 if you can get all achievements tied to every game available with this. But that's only with the retail version. So you need to pick up the retail version and download that obviously onto your hard drive. I was fortunate enough to pick this up in my local CEX store for £8, which is nothing for a lot of retro fun. A bulk of easy achievements on this, but just starting each game individually will get you 15 to 20G. Playing each set of games within a group, like both Battletoad games, all Banjo-Kazooie games, will net you 30G for sampling every game in a collection. And to play a game, you actually only have, or for it to count as playing a game, you only actually have to start it. Once you've started it, job done. It counts. 1 stamp in every game shouldn't be too difficult if you pick the right stamp. Stamp is like a little sort of mini game or a little sort of quest that you can do as a separate thing to play in the game. So one stamp will get you 10G. If you're able to get all 5 stamps, you'll get 25G for doing that. Battletoads arcade game, I believe, was quite easy, although you had to, I think, play the game with every toad, perhaps, or that was a separate achievement. Each game also has its miscellaneous achievements tied to the game. Some of them are for just completing the game, some are for doing certain things in the game which can be grindy. And the one thing I will add as a tip for this game is the right trigger is a rewind function when you're playing the full game. So take advantage of that. I think I remember in one of the jetpack games you had to get to level 10 without being hit. So what I did every time as I was hit, I just used the rewind function and then went a different way. I went around the object that hit me. So yeah, use that to your advantage as well. So yeah, I just added 80G to it this month. Fortunate enough to get all stamps on 2 games, one which was quite tricky, so I'm pleased about that. Next up we have Albert and Otto. Now this game isn't brilliant, it's very Limbo-esque in its appearance, and as you'll see I've only got 850 out of 1000. Now I used a guide from Mac91, one of my guide guys. The guide is spot on and perfect. There is nothing wrong with the guide. It tells you every piece of information you need to know, and there are 3 achievements on it which I would say are quite tricky, and that is defeating the first boss without taking a hit, defeating the second boss right at the very end of the game without a hit, and there is also one for going down this sort of stream section without dying as well in chapter 6. Now that's the one, combined with the fact, yeah, I'm going to be honest, I probably don't have the skill level to do it, and the fact that controls on this are quite finicky and quite annoying as well at times. I just wasn't able to get it done, and that's a single achievement worth 150. I will revisit it at some point and try again. Just the annoying thing about it is if you do die and fail and you need to try and get that achievement again, you have to restart chapter 6. You can't just start the last point and survive. You know, you have to restart the whole chapter through chapter selects again. So yeah, it's Mac91 has a bang-on guide for this. The guide runs for 40 minutes long, so if you're able to follow it and also not die first time round, well done to you. That is not an easy feat, but potentially you can get this done in under an hour by following that guide. However, I put a couple of hours into it and I just can't get that last one. I will revisit it at some point. I hope to get it. Okay, next up, Doodle God Crime City. I pretty much, just bought this for achievements. It cost me £5 something, and I followed a guide which I found online from a Steam user, I believe. If I can find that guide again, I will post a link in the description. I never take any credit for work that isn't my own. So I pretty much just followed that guide, put all the elements in, and it still took 4 to 5 hours because obviously you've got to put all the elements in, and you've got to find them as well, navigate around them. So still expect to put some time in even with the guide, but the guide will get it done a hell of a lot quicker, because it's not that easy to work them all out yourself in a short space of time. So yep, grab a guide. I will try and put that link in the description. It is an easy 1000 if you do follow the guide. Gears 4, I'm always revisiting this game. I had a sizable chunk of this obviously already. I'm going to go into it and show you that I added 4 achievements, I think 4 30G achievements, which were in the last title update towards the end of the year. And I got all of these in co-op versus AI on casual, because I'm not a versus player. I love playing Horde. I play Horde for a long time, every time, but when it comes to knocking out the versus achievements, I go into co-op versus AI, and that's exactly what I did with these. However, these 4 achievements that you can see all 4 on screen probably took 5 to 6 hours worth of gameplay to get, so they're not quick at the same time. I'll take that. It's worth noting that the marks counts towards this, because when I was in co-op versus AI, I was on the Old Town map down the bottom, and every time the marks are spawned, I run up to the enemy with my Nasha, shot him, and then picked up the marks, and it counted because I had the achievement tracker on to make sure things counted. It's also worth noting that if you pick up ammo for a weapon after your opponent drops it, it counts towards the achievement. So just picking up ammo actually counts as well. But to talk about Gears 4 in general, if you're looking for a bulk of these achievements, it now has 4,000 tied to it. Playing through the campaign on obviously every level gets an achievement, so even by playing on a low level, picking up collectibles, use a guide for that. You get achievements for completing chapters, you get achievements for progressing certain aspects of the story. Will give you things as well. Just go through the achievement list and you'll pick up a lot of it easily. Scrapping a card, things like that. So there is a chunk of that is difficult. There's a chunk of that takes a lot of time, but there are a certain amount that are easy. There's plenty of guides available for this game now as well, so pick those up if you have trouble with some of the more specific achievements. Okay, Virtua Fighter 2 I just revisited, no need to talk about that in great depth. However, I'll just mention it again, it is an easy 400. It is still available. I learned that before I did this video. It is still available, so memory serves me correct, it doesn't even take that long either. Hour, probably get you 400 Gs, is still available at time of recording. Gears of War Judgment, I just mopped up I think about 80 or 100 G on this. I did the Aftermath section, which is just a 10 G achievement. I was able to pick up the last of the cog tags, so I used a guide to make sure I didn't miss those while I did it, so that mopped up achievements there for getting the cog tags. Also with Gears of War Judgment I did some of the multiplayer achievements, which you can do by yourself with co-op bots. You just need to do certain maps and in certain modes, and obviously certain game types like Overrun, a couple there, one map on every match in all versus modes, every map in domination, one of each of those 3 types, 10 rounds of team deathmatch, one on every map in team deathmatch. Let's say these can all be done with the AI and on casual as well. I was going to say, not a versus player. That's how I'm always going to get my versus achievements, pretty much on the Gears game. Also got to level 20, which popped that to not far off level 30 actually. I have started a co-op campaign, so hope to get that one done soon. Jump Step Step is an easy completion, but only if you follow a guide. Tip with this one is, if you're following a guide that was made before October, I learnt this the hard way by the way, if you're following a guide that was made before October last year, it's actually going to be wrong. The game had an update which altered some puzzles and added some puzzles early on. I was able to find a guide that was successful and follow the on-screen prompts, or the on-screen instructions at the bottom of the screen the guide did. So if you do that, you get it done in under an hour, but if you don't follow guide, it'll take a long time to work those out. Kudos to the guy who first worked out all those puzzles, especially the ones at the end. Try not to make a mistake. There is one of the achievements for going through without dying. I'm going to put a link in the description to the video I used, so that you guys can use one that I know is successful. The YouTube user is Pesky Wabbits, and I'll put the link in the description to that. He has all the instructions that you need to follow sort of available for 5 seconds, and it moves on to the next one, and obviously all you do is pause it and then make sure you get them spot on. You'll be able to do this in under an hour if you follow those guides, follow those instructions correctly first time round as well. Also, after you complete the game, which is 9 out of 10, he goes on to put a little section on how to get the unique death video. So honestly, spot on guide, so I'll post a link in the description to that. However, I'm going to go back to my guide man for this one. Macca91 has a guide on his channel for Blackwood Crossing. The runtime is just over an hour. Follow it, it's a bang on guide, you'll get this done in no time at all. Super Lucky's Tale, this game was added to Game Pass last year, early on in the year, and I just left it sitting there after completing all clovers in World 1 and most of the clovers in World 2. I then managed to full 1000G the base game and made a start on the DLC. I bought the Gili Island DLC, which has 325 Gamerscore attached to it, and got not all of that but some of that. There is another DLC called Guardian Trials which has 395 attached to it. I haven't bought that, I probably will and start that. There are also 2 title updates which have free achievements, you don't have to pay for them, they're just title updates. One's coin related, for getting 15k coins, 30k and 99,999 coins, which is going to be some hell of a grind if you get that. I must admit, I played through the entirety, obviously, of the base and of Gili Islands and got all the clovers in those, and the coins led me to getting 14,500 roughly, so I had to grind up 500 quickly to nab the 15k one, and that's only halfway to the next one, and that's nowhere near the top one. Also, they added Watch the Credits, and the other DLC, sorry, the other title update, which added 105 Gamerscore, is just for equipping costumes which you can buy, and for buying all costumes in all of the original 4, as well as a random achievement for a buzzkill, killing a buzzkill, which kind of just happened by accident for me. So I was able to add a lot to that. I was nearly 1,000 I was able to add to that, but however I did put a lot of time into that. AC8 Neo Geo Ragnargard, don't know if I pronounced that correct, was added to the store this month, and January 9th or 10th, and I bought it straight away, and I put a lot of time into this, working out a character where I could get the achievements with. I eventually come up with a character called Ben 10, no word of a lie, no numerals involved, all one word, BENTEN, and by simply farming, holding forwards and Y, I was able to get the job done in caravan mode and high score mode. Essentially what that does is just some kind of powerful uppercut move, which it will probably get blocked a lot, but they don't count as a block. So when you're pressing forward and that, eventually if one hits, obviously it'll do damage. Sometimes it will hit and knock them into the air, and you can kind of keep parrying them into the corner until they hit the floor. If the move itself doesn't connect and you're holding forward and pressing Y, eventually you'll kind of throw them as instead. So holding forward and Y works, but you might have to be patient with it, and you may have to do more than one attempt still in caravan mode and high score mode. So just bear that in mind when you do it. The same method will work in the normal scoring mode campaign. Obviously, just go into the settings and turn the level down to make it easier for you. I found I had to put it on level 2 rather than level 1, because in level 1 they just literally blocked absolutely everything and not even let a hit in for some reason. So I knocked it down to level 2. The trick is also with this is the highest scoring margin is 600,000k, and when you get to the final boss, which is Lucifer, you will probably be nowhere near that, and you'll probably be 100,000 out potentially. So what you're going to have to do is kind of only win one round until you're within touching distance of 600k to make sure you get it. Fortunately enough, continuing in the game does not void the current score that you have, so you can actually continue and not lose your score, and then obviously just chip away at it. It's a bit of a grind, but at least you will get there. So yeah, that would be my advice. That's how I did it. There may be a quicker way, I don't know, but obviously I found a successful way. I probably ended up putting 5 to 6 hours into this game, discovering that and then getting that to work. Okay, Walking Dead Collection, the Telltale series. I had 550 going into the month with this one, and as you'll see, I've managed to get the full 4,000 by playing all 4 games in their entirety. Now, the games actually get quicker as they go along. Season 1's the longest, Season 2, then New Frontier, and then Walking Dead Michonne is very quick. There are actually 3 episodes in that. Season 1 has 5 episodes, and they take, I would say, 2 to 3 hours each. Season 2, each episode, 5 episodes in that, 2 hours. I think there was one that was a little bit longer than that. New Frontier, I would say 1 to 2, probably touching nearer the 2 end for all episodes. Walking Dead Michonne, 3 episodes, they were around about 2 hours each, so that is the quickest game. People always say with these, just play through them, you'll get all the achievements, blah blah blah, no problem at all. However, in Season 1, there is actually 2 missable achievements. So my advice to you is when you're playing Season 1 and you get to episode 6, which is 400 days, which is kind of like a sort of a prelude to Season 2 really. You'll have the 5 characters which you'll start with, and in 2 of the character stories have missable achievements. So my advice to you is to pick Wyatt's first, because what I did is I picked Bonnie and then went to Wyatt and then screwed up the missable achievement and had to start the whole episode again, so I had to play another character again. So start with Wyatt just in case you screw up and have to play the whole episode again, because what you want to do in Wyatt's chapter is you'll come come to a section where you need to essentially win a game of rock paper scissors with your buddy in the car, and if you lose that, obviously you won't unlock the achievement and you'll have to start again. But the trick to do with that is, once you get to a losing situation, you want to sort of register within yourself what the hands say, and if you press the dash button, you can still see on screen what the hands are. As soon as you see the hands, do that and make sure you win. If you're gonna lose, then quit out and start again, or load up the game again, and you'll actually be thrown straight back into the situation that you are having the game rock paper scissors with. However, if you get to the losing screen where you see their faces and he says, "Oh damn, I've got to go out," or whatever, then you're going to have to start his story over again. So make sure you do his first in case that happens. It's about 5 to 10 minutes in, so yeah, that's one missable achievement, winning that game rock paper scissors. As I say, you see those hands and you're about to lose, quit the game out. But press the middle button and you can actually still see on screen what the hands are, and it's paused. It's great. Anyway, the other one is in Russell's story. So Russell's one is really easy, really quick. It's right at the beginning. You're walking along the road, a car comes towards you, and you're given the option to hide or stand. You want to pick the option hide. If you stand, you'll miss the achievement. If you hide, you'll get one for basically you'll sort of hide roadside, and you'll get one for recognising the guy that you're lying next to, basically. So, but in all, I had a look at the time I spent on this, and it's an hour. An hour. I wish 1 day and 18 hours I spent. So it took me 42 hours to play through all 4 seasons and get the 4,000 gamer score. A lot of people moan about having to play these again because they want the gamer score out of it really easily. Personally, I really enjoyed these, so it was not a chore for me. The second time was actually a charm for me. I really enjoyed it, and remember what I did first time around in all of these. I was able to pick other options and see what happened, so really enjoyed it, and it's a shame they've gone bust. So if you're willing to spend, I think $54.99 is what I pay for this, but a lot of money for what it is, I suppose, but I thoroughly enjoyed it and I don't mind. My only advice or wandering is, with Telltale going out of business, even so someone has taken over finishing the last game in this series, in the Walking Dead. How long will they be available for? Who knows? I don't know. Finally, this month on my Xbox One, I played Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 purely because it became available in Game Pass. This was always started with the intention of not being a completion, because there are a lot of online achievements with this. I don't like playing online versus, and there are online achievements for playing 100, 200 and 300 times, so bear that in mind should you want to go for a completion on this, because also it is very tough to find a game, and I know that because I did actually play one. Let's go into it and explain this one a little bit more, because I went into it and played one game because you get 10G achievement for participating in any mode over Xbox Live, which I was quite happy to do. Yeah, I lost, I don't care, I hate the mode. I hate Xbox Live modes in fighting games, I just don't enjoy it. And then after that, it was I went for primarily the view all endings and arcade mode. Now you have to play basically arcade mode 51 times to unlock this. This unlocks along the way. I don't know if there were any extra requirements for it, but however, it unlocked when I did it. The only other tip I would give you relating to this is the fact that one of the endings is either to get to 30,000 player points, so you're able to play in Galactus mode and be Galactus and see his ending, or the other way to view his ending is to actually get all the way to Galactus, lose, and let the timer run out, and you'll get his ending. So I played the arcade mode 51 times because unfortunately you don't get all endings for the entire team of 3. You only get the ending for the hit of the last character. So what I did is I had a front 2 of Iron Man as character number 1 and Akuma as character number 2, and then whoever I wanted the ending for was character number 3. And I literally just worked in a pattern on the character select screen, which I would remember who I've done and who I haven't done. It gives you a chance to pick normal or simple. I pick simple every time because with Iron Man you can do a unibeam move by simply pressing no direction and hitting Y. If you have it on simple, you've got to put no other input in. Obviously put the damage on highest and the difficulty on very easy if you're just wanting to farm arcade mode run-throughs, and then spam that unibeam move until you get to the end, and then obviously get Galactus defeated to within one hit with your two primary characters. I say Iron Man is a good number 1, and then a number 2 which you find very good to use. For me it was Akuma for his hyper combo move basically. And yeah, just Christ, I put 9.5 hours into this game basically working towards that achievement. I picked up a lot along the way. Ones I didn't were perform 50 snapbacks. Once you get to 30,000 player points, which is an achievement itself, you can go into Galactus mode by holding LB and pressing A on the offline mode screen, and that was I was able to get that because when you go into Galactus mode, I must admit I didn't know how to perform a snapback. I read a trick on True Achievements about just simply all you got to do is press B, and so I was able to mash B in Galactus mode, and every time that hit, it performed a snapback. That then made that achievement go really quickly. Fighting all the stages, you'll get all but 2 in your multiple arcade game run-throughs by playing that. The 2 you'll be missing is Danger Room and Training Stage, which you will have to go into the training mode, and you can pick whatever stage you want except for the boss stage, which you'll obviously need to run through to play in the boss stage. But you can pick those 2 stages and then the achievement will unlock. So along the way, in going for that, I got land 50 teamed aerial combos, which when using simple like I did, you have to hold down an A to hit them in the air, and then you have to jump, hit X in the air to start an aerial combo a couple of times, and then you have to do sort of the quarter circle forward A, or Hadouken as I call it, sort of input to bring in the other character, and as they come in you have to double tap X or keep tapping X, and it'll even say aerial combo on screen. When you do that 50 times. Well, when you've eventually run out of things to work towards in your arcade playthroughs to get that will come with time. That will come with time. That will definitely come with time. That I eventually decided to go for halfway through when I had a decent team, because it's not easy to get 400,000 points or even get 500,000 points, which I haven't been able to do. But I used the 500,000 points guide on True Achievements and fell 14,000 short, but unlocked that along the way. 50 crossover counters, that requires you to use up one of your bars, so you need that. Basically, when you block, and on blocking on impacts, press LB or right B to tag in the character that you want to do the crossover with. Do that 50 times. As I say, try and work towards that during your multiple arcade run-throughs. I decided to go for this when my team was Iron Man number 1, Akuma number 2, and Ryu as number 3. So I went for that, and that probably took a few times to get right. So yeah, a few trial and errors, and a trick I would say there is try and hit both characters at once with a hyper combo attack when they're sort of crossing over or tagging in. So yeah, just persevere, and I say multiple continues, just keep going. An uncanny combo I think is somewhere up in the 90s and above. Once you've unlocked Galactus mode, you can get that easily by getting LB RB move together to connect, or you can, if you're fortunate enough, I think I actually got it when I had Ryu and Iron Man hit 2 characters at once with a crossover combination. The crossover combination is having at least 2 or more bars and two or more characters alive, and pressing LB and RB together at the same time, and that will trigger that. So yeah, it's not as hard as it might appear. So yeah, that will come along with the beautiful combo, which is a lower amount. I think it's only 35. X Factor is pressing all 4 buttons together at once, X, A, B and Y. You get 1 given to you per fight. Just make sure you do that 50 times along the way. As I say, 51 playthroughs with 7 stages each time means there's plenty of time for you to use X Factor 50 times. Advancing guard, that is pressing X and Y together whilst blocking, and obviously all Don't preempt it and press X and Y too early, otherwise you'll get hit. Good place to do this is against Galactus when he starts using these beams, because literally once it hits you and you're blocking, you can actually sort of mash it and get sort of 2 or 3 advancement guards out of it at the same time. Crossover assist, just tap the tag button and they'll come in and assist you, rather than pressing and holding it to actually tag them in. Just tap it, do that 100 times, that should come naturally along the way. That will come naturally along the way. Crossover combination finishes, again requires 2 bars and at least 2 characters alive. Press and hold both LB and RB at the same time together. 30 hyper combo finishes. If you're using simple, all you have to do is press B and that'll do a hyper combo, and just make sure it's the finishing hit. 50 first attacks, playing on very easy, that should come along in time. Block 100 times, that's easy enough. Beat arcade mode without using any continues, that should be easy enough, using very easy and the simple inputs. That'll come in no time at all. That'll come by accident pretty much. The first one I got, I think it's only a 35 hit combo required. In fact, I think if you land Iron Man's hyper combo perfectly while they're on the ground and not in the air, it should hit 35 times exactly and unlock that. So I say I had a lot of fun with that game. It took a long time to get what I've got, and what I've got is probably all I'll get. Some of these are difficult. I may unlock that one because if I'm busy, I might just leave the controller on the side and let it play for 30 hours in training mode. You have to back out for it to register. And as I said, the good thing about this game, as you'll see, all the achievements track. So it's a lot of fun. So if you've got Game Pass, it's worth grabbing. I love Marvel, I love Capcom. I enjoy fighting games, just not playing online. So yeah, I put a lot of time into it, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the bulk of it, should we say. It became a little bit of a grind towards the end. Okay, so that just brings me to the last game of the month. This is going to be popping up in every update video I do, and that is purely because it takes a year to complete this game, basically, or to get the completion. You'll get the bulk of this. You can get bulk of this really easily and quickly if you're not bothered about getting the completion and waiting a year. You can still get 300 to 400 out of this. I've mentioned it before. 600 stars, that will come in time. 100% completion on a map. Just when you start map 1, just take your time and get finish every puzzle, all 3 stars. It's not difficult because in adventure mode the hint button works continuously. It's not a case of using it once or twice and it will disappear. It runs on a timer, and that timer is only about 5 seconds long, so once that timer goes out you can just press hint again. So if you get stuck on any part of it, it actually focuses on what you're missing, or one of the stars that you're missing, so it's fine. 100% completion on the map will not be difficult at all. If you don't get 100% completion, you can still complete a map and you'll get that one. 3 stars on a bonus puzzle, that's not too difficult either because they are in adventure mode, so same method applies with the hint should you have any trouble. You'll unlock a bonus puzzle by finishing the puzzle next to it with 3 stars, and that will unlock the one next to it. Daily challenge, remember to play it 5 days in a row, easy enough. 100 stars, that will come very quickly. 1,000 words across all game modes, that will come very quickly. Unlock a gate on a map, that will come very quickly and easily as well. The first gate is 30 stars. As long as you finish all the puzzles up to that gate, it'll unlock, not a problem, easy. Multiplayer game, just go into multiplayer mode. It's just sort of a timed mode with a grid against whoever else is playing at the time. It's not a one-on-one or anything. You haven't got to search for a game. It will start, it will be very easy. Just discuss how to unlock a bonus puzzle. There you go, easy achievement. This isn't difficult, believe it or not. Natural gameplay, as you'll see, a high percentage of people have unlocked this. You'll just score for 45-point word along the way at some point. It's not hard. Some of the stars are for finding themed words, and they'll tell you what the theme is. I think one was family in one of the early games, so like you'll find the word child or mum or something, and that'll be a theme word. So that will come through natural progression when you're playing through the maps and you get that challenge come up. 30 words without getting 3 stars will be easy enough once you get to the higher ones in the map, because it'll be too difficult to do within 30 words. Not hard at all. 3 stars in a single hard quick play puzzle, not difficult. Just take your time. It's exactly as it says in the description. 5 words in under 10 seconds. I mean, you can sort of preempt 10 words and go for it. It'll probably unlock naturally when you're just swiping away at these 3-letter words. Play a daily challenge, not difficult. Won your first daily challenge, not difficult. There are easy ones that pop up. first star on any map will be the first one you get, probably in adventure mode. 12 maps, I'm on map 5. Once you've done 100% completion, and you don't have to, you can sort of farm a way of just getting enough stars to go through each gates and finish the map without, you know, having to spend a long time getting through in every map. So that will come in time. It's 1,000 G, I wish. It's 100 G, so worth going for. Now this is where you realise that the game takes a year to complete. These ones here are all for daily challenges. Obviously a diamond daily challenge badge is you only have to get one of. That will come along with another achievement, which is complete every daily challenge of the month, which I'm on target to do this month, and I will get at the end of the month. So complete every daily challenge in a month will unlock the diamond one along the way, because we're halfway through, and even if everyone's easy, that will now unlock with the amount of coins that I get. However, each of these trophies are only available once a month. So I started this game in the last week of December and was able to pinch the bronze and the silver in December last year, and obviously I'm now up to gold for this month. So that'll take 10 months, that'll take 12 months, that'll take 8 months. So if you want the completion, be prepared to be patiently waiting for a year basically to get your completion. The other one is obtain the expert tile for Wordament. I believe I've read online that is for getting enough XP to get to level 80. Currently on 45, and as I'm going for 12 maps and all these daily achievements, related trophies and stuff, that should pop along the way for you. I say it's not a difficult completion, but it will take you a year. So this will be popping up in every video, but I won't be talking in lengths like I have done now. I will probably be just saying, guys, go watch January 2019 part 1 for how to do this, and tips and tricks and guides on this. So before I leave this game, I'm just going to add that it is a mobile phone game. Sorry, people probably should have opened with that. However, you don't need a Windows phone to play it. It runs off my Samsung Galaxy S9 Android device fine, so you don't need a Windows phone. It will run off other devices. And the other thing just to add before I leave this game as well is within the game itself it does have its own awards page. And within that awards page you can see which achievements you've unlocked, and which achievements are locked. And the locked achievements do have their own tracker bar within that as well, which is quite handy and quite a nice touch for a mobile phone game. Okay, so with that, people, that is January part 1 concluded. Just like to say that I am obviously very pleased with the 13,445 game score I've added so far. Also, another little thing that happened on January the 10th when I popped my first achievement that day, which was within Super Lucky's Tale, was I hit a 200-day streak, which means I popped one achievement every day for at least 200 days. So I'm pleased with that little milestone, and long may that continue. Also, thanks goes out to guides that helped with Jump Step Step and Doodle God Crime City. Links in the description are going to be put in there for those as a thank you from me. And also I'm going to link in the description a link to Maka91's walkthrough playlist, because the guy does, I've said it in the previous video, I said he does quality walkthroughs, and he does a lot of achievement work in general for individual achievements too, and just he's credit to the achievement community. So yep, link for that will be in the description too, and yet another personal thank you. And lastly, I'm just going to say that coming up in January part 2 is going to be some completions. I already have some completions lined up for that. I'm hoping to play some more 360 and not just back compat stuff, so we'll be blowing the dust off the 360 and getting that up and running. And also in January part 2 I hope to have made some considerable progress in Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, in which I'm not going to use any guides for. So in that you'll be seeing how well I've done basically without any guides, because I am going to target all achievements, but at the same time I'm going to be playing it for fun and not using any guides. So yep, stay tuned for that. So stay tuned by subscribing, that'd be great. If you enjoyed this video or you find this video help, smashing a thumbs up is always good. And I'm just gonna say thank you guys for watching. So yep, thank you, take care.